these guys have been going at it, and Board just been a great just all around, just doing all these objectives. So we're definitely gonna have to see how Team Ronin and Team Animosity are going to be able to kind of overcome that going inside of this draft here, as we do see they're getting ready for it going in.
Team Ronin going to get that first pick. So recently, I think we are probably going to be seeing the same sort of draws we have been seeing the last
Mm.
two games. We really expected that Richter ban. We probably expected that Rampage ban. High priority on that Decker and Steel as well. Anything else you think would happen?
I mean, I think just picking up that Severog, I think Severog was one of those key units going inside the team count, working for Imports backpack. So maybe Team Ronin and Team Animosity might be able to just kind of realize that was just a very strong pick going into those battles. So maybe being able to pick up a Severog for one of these teams might showcase them and gives them a little bit more advantage to be able to take this out here and trying to move themselves on out of this group stage.
Yeah, it was definitely a high priority for Imports Backpack. Nor's playing it both times. So neither teams actually have played it yet so far today. And you got to think of the Krang as well. As we actually get the first band coming from Team Ronin, and it is going to be that Bellico finally going to be in that high priority that we did see in the PCC. And I think it's deservedly so, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she just provides so much utility. The Void Drone itself is just so powerful, especially in those team fights. And if not destroyed quickly enough, we do know if they pick up a Twin Blast, this might be able to just destroy that drone a little bit quicker than most times. Do you see the Richter ban coming out of Team Animosity, though? And that's also a dangerous hero. Does rely on actually being accurate. But if that hook lands, that Riplash is just so useful, especially with a silence as well to follow up with it.
Yeah, and also how good it is as a flex potential can be really played in the support, jungle, and solo. So as a first pick, it allows Ronin to have a lot of flexibility in their draft. But we'll have to see what they really want. There's a lot of good picks, and they are going to go for that Rampage. And I mean, there's only one place that is going to go, and that's going to go into Flamepoken's hands.
I mean, he just brings out so much CC. Finally getting patched up, finally being able to do the damage he needs to. It's going to be really useful. But we do see Animosity picking up a Decker, and that is definitely a strong pick coming out. Mostly probably going to be inside the support role, but to have seen a couple mid Deckers roaming around there, so that might be a possibility as well. But she provides us a lot of utility as well, just like we were talking about with the Belka. That containment fence, that stasis ball is just so useful, and especially with that Ion Blast being able to hit with the Rift Walkers, just kind of makes everything just work.
Yeah, you got a great engage and you got a great disengage with Decker as well, and we're going to see it paired up with the steel. Most likely, it's going to be probably in that solo or jungle. Can be put into either one. We did see it. Nerf playing it
Mhm.
last game in the jungle, so you might be picking that up again. Again, just another great engaged hero. He can play really strong as a tank. Speaking of tanks, we're going to pick up the Severog for Team Ronin.
I mean, that we talked about that a little bit. We're saying like, hey, this Severog's just been a great utility for the first couple games that we've seen. So being able to pick that up, talking about a little bit about the steel, being able to be flexible. So is the Severog able to be playing in the offlane, able to be playing in the jungle. But like you said, we already seen the Rampage picked up. But that's that Twin Blast we saw. We were talking about as well. Being able to be picked up just does so much damage and the sustained damage, and just being able to just utilize him with his mobility just allows for just a great 80 carry.
Yeah, and they've already got a really strong front line with Team Ronin, so Twin Blast is going to be basically able to free fire in these team fights if they are
Mhm.
played correctly. So we get the final pick for phase one, the Gideon for Team Animosity. Kalipito playing it once again. Pretty standard pick for him. I think that is his most played character in the game. Just a very strong early game hero, and especially when you pair the Black Hole with the Shield Slam Steel, it can be very nasty in those team fights.
As well as that containment fence, locking people down a little bit more inside of that great circle that comes out of the black hole. Do you see that howitzer band coming in with the Chimera? So trying to just squeeze out the mid lane for Team Ronin and trying to squeeze out the jungle formation for Team Animosity here. So to try and force that steal into that jungle spot.
Yeah, I do think the steal is going to be a jungle pick already up, so Chimera might have been a bit of a wasted ban for Team Ronin, but it just
Mhm.
allows them to not flex that in if they need to input the steal into that off lane. Chimera, of course, having a pretty good matchup into that Rampage can easily cleanse the boulder and can do the long engaged team fights, which Rampage can struggle with as we go on. But we get a few more picks. We get the Drongo picked up for Team Animosity, just a very strong saved laner and can transition well into that mid to late game. And we have the Gadget.
Gadget is just completely huge, able to just either have a great defense of just counter initiating that steal. That steal just kind of tries to dive the back line. Also being able to counter that Gideon if he ults too low to the ground. As we do see a Muriel pick up here to final out the roster of Team Ronin.
I think I would prefer to see a Narbas, honestly. I think with the Rampage and Several healing
Mhm.
already, Narbas on top of that would have been completely disgusting, especially in these team
Yeah,
fights. But Muriel, again, can play very aggressive in lane, so paired with a Trim Blast, that can be a very strong poke lane into this Deca Drongo. As we get the final pick of this draft, it's going to be a Greystone, which
I
was
mean,
played again last game.
yeah, and then we saw that Stoneforge Soul coming in handy in certain like these small skirmishes, these team fights as well. Just being able to be a nuisance and having that Greystone diving your back line with an extra life, and God forbid he picks up a Phoenix, is just so hard to kill and so hard to deal with. So I think that's a very strong pickup as they do kind of have like a great team roster here coming out of Team Animosity, but they cannot be just kind of just shied away as this big Sevarog is there and going to be able to kind of dive the back line of Team Animosity as well, just as that Greystone will be able to dive on Team Ronin.
Yeah, when I'm looking at these two drafts, Animosity definitely comes as a very early game draft. They will want to get ahead
Mhm.
with this Drongo, this Gideon, this Greystone, and kind of snowball their wins, their lanes into these early Fang2s and mini primes and go from there. Ronin, on the other hand, they have that Several, the Gadget, the Trim Blast. They're going to want to really stack up and get those items online, looking for that mid to late game um, fight, and then try and win from there. Rampage is going to be used to at least sustain those lanes, maybe go for some steals. Import's not in the game, but we could always see a few more this time. But I
Yeah,
think
for
it is going to
sure.
be a case of early game team versus late game team.
One thing that Team Animosity does have over Team Ronin, though, is they have a little bit more peel for Team Animosity. The steal can either engage or come back to peel here. Meanwhile, with the Rampage and Several, they're kind of trying to push towards that back line and kind of hoping they're able to cause enough commotion that their back line does not get pushed on as well.
Yeah, you got the Muriel shields, but that's nothing in terms of CC. So we'll have to find out as we do get into game.
We are into this game with Team Ronin versus Team Animosity. This is the game to decide who moves away from these group stages. So, a lot of kind of a pressure on both teams here and a lot to really get out of this. So, we're going to have to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, as we get the everyone going in, it doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of grouping on either side. So we're going to have a pretty standard level one. Looks like both junglers are going to be on their blue side of the map. As we actually see, Flamepojken is going to do a slight invade, probably going to try and put a ward onto that 5 camp just to keep an eye on where Nerf is going to be. As we actually get a grouping out. Kalipito is going to come around though.
Nice little 5 point starts from both teams, just trying to make sure they cover the entire jungle, make sure nothing kind of comes their way. And if it does, they do notice it. Do you see Flame, though, being able to be in that jungle with his passive allows him to be a little bit more risky than any other of these heroes that are inside there. So he's able to kind of just be able to push full ahead. But he's going to take his back as these minion waves are spawning, looking towards his red side as we do have that start out. Going in towards this mid lane, though, that Gideon versus Gadget matchup, this is one of those matchups that been a lot of debate on who kind of comes out on the stronger side of this thing.
In the early game, it's definitely going to be the Gideon. Has a bit better wave clear in this early game and has a bit stronger of a level 6 that he can rotate with. It's going to really take a while for Skype Hamster to come online. Though, yeah, this is the good thing about Gadget. They have a very good poke, even though it doesn't do that much damage. It is rather annoying. We can already see Kalipito getting that first push. Not going to look for an early ward, though. Normally, if you get that push in the level 1, you will look for a ward to see if you can get a vision of where the jungler is, but he's not going to go for it this time.
Nice to be able to get that vision out early, as we do see Team Animosity just trying to make that vision as good and up as well. Do see Team Ronin, though, being able to ward that river, seeing if the steal comes out, maybe trying to push towards that blue side. As we see in the dual lane here, that Decker and this Drongo just kind of just keeping this wave even versus Lugga and Penguin on that mirror and Twin Blast. As the pressure now it's kind of switching as the wave stays pushing towards Team Animosity. What's going to come out of this? We do know that Drongo has that high single target damage versus that Twin Boss kind of needs a little bit more. As long as he hits his Q, he's going to be able to kind of fight into that, but the mana drain on him is just so expensive.
Basically, I think both duos are going to wait for jungle intervention as we get jungle intervention in the mid lane.
As he goes in, and that rock does hit, but it's going to force the blink out, which is good. But with Kalipito on that Gideon, with the torn space, that kind of allows him to have a blink every 14 to 15 seconds or so. So he's a little bit more safe without his blink than most heroes. As you do see off in the offlane, a little bit of trading going on. Llama with a little bit less mana. But going into Mr. GooRoo here, he kind of has the advantage if he's able to get him low enough, be able to dive that with the slither and catch up to him with his leap. As long as he doesn't have his ultimate, he should be able to get that kill. As a rock does hit, and Flame actually coming out with another gank. Gonna have to use his dash to jump to get away, but that pressure is going off as Flame looking towards this green buff to kind of propel him a little bit further as catching as well. There's a lot of fights going on. Can he clean up the kill? And first blood is there for Team RONIN as they're looking to get this game going.
I mean, you said that Gideon is pretty safe even without a blink, but he very much needed it there. Skype Hamster using the early gank that he got from Flamepojken to great advantage, getting the 1v1 kill. And that's going to put him in great stance because he is going to be the one who's going to be scaling in this lane. So any sort of advantage he can get early is going to just snowball from there. It allows him to get the chemical ward online even faster. As Nerf is looking around the duo lane, but where the race state is, Animosity has pushed up quite fast, so he's not going to really be able to get anything.
Nothing at all. First blood going down. Team RONIN looking to get started early. So do have in the duo lane here, they're kind of pushing that wave into the side of Team RONIN. Might not be where you want to be, but being able to have a freeze there as they're trying to do right now is going to allow Team RONIN to kind of just get it there and kind of keep Team Animosity out of getting that pressure. And they're going to be in a bad position, especially if Rampage comes back over. Llama, though, running a little bit low on mana. Going to crash this wave and going to be able to take a look and get a reset, get that Brimstone possibly online. And that's going to be a big game changer for the Sevarog.
Yeah, it's actually quite surprising Sevarog having to push against the Greystone in this early game. Obviously, he had that help with the Rampage early gank as well. But even then, he has had a pretty easy laning phase so far, which we definitely didn't see in the last game, but that's for sure. And again, it's another thing of he is going to scale so much better than Mr. GooRoo coming this late game. So any sort of advantage or even evenness in these lanes is just going to snowball hard. He has probably got that Brimstone online. We haven't actually seen a scoreboard for a while, but once he gets those 1-2 items online, it is going to be very easy. And we can see he has got that Brimstone. Lugga has that Soul Chalice. Skype Hamster didn't actually go for the Chemical Ward, has gone for that Potent Staff instead. So it's going to be building towards that Megacosm early, not looking for the hard scaling that you normally see from Gadget. So that's quite a interesting choice, I would say.
We actually did see the Gideon go into that alchemical rod start. So kind of just switched their roles around there. Seeing that pressure, Lugga and Penguin are going to be able to get another freeze off here, but in the meantime, taking a lot of damage. It's going to take a little bit of a route. Kind of trying to play it safe there as he does not have a ward over onto that 5 camp, so he doesn't know exactly where that rampage is just yet. Pretty smart. But as the first faint tooth comes up, seeing a lot of pressure, seeing a lot of zoning as the rampage coming through that river. Going to be spotted on that ward. Who's going to be looking for this first objective, and what's kind of the criteria that they're looking for to really take the go-ahead and just go straight for it?
I think either team either has to know where the opponent's jungler is or look for a pick in this duo lane. Animosity, if they can get this level 6 on the duo, they're going to have a very strong 2v2. Muriel's not that strong at level 6. Lugga is okay, but compared to the Deca Drongo, level 6 is going to be a lot worse.
It's like getting a little aggressive here, but the rock lands as Flame comes out of the jungle and forces a double blink on this duo lane off of just one rock. And that's going to be very crucial in this duo lane as we see Flame rotating for these river buffs.
Well, that completely negates the level 6. Animosity having no blinks in the duo lane now means that they are a lot less scary. Then can't really go for those hyper-aggressive plays just in case Flamepojken is around. He will eventually have to go to that other side of the map to clear his jungle. But for the next few minutes, they are going to have to play rather safe. And now Lugga and Penguin can play a bit more aggressively. They can look for that poke early on as well. So I think recently, this early game, although it should be 100% Animosity, they are behind. They haven't got a kill yet. They are 20 CS down. So it's looking really good for Ronin at the moment.
Now we passed that 7-minute mark. We do see the rampage on the blue side of a team Animosity looking to get an invade off or possibly get another rock off as he does get it. And he's going straight towards Cynic here. Does not have his ultimate. Great containment fence and the shield slam to clean that up. And a great peel coming in from Nerf.
Yeah, I mean, I understood why he was doing that. Obviously, there was no blinks left on Animosity's Dura lane, but you didn't really have the lane set yet for you to dive that hard. You can't really tower dive either. You didn't have level 6, so you didn't have the beam off's healing to come into effect. As well as the fact that Nerf was going to be on that side of the map. You knew your blue was going to be up, so Nerf's was as well. So just kind of an overstep by Flamepojken. He doesn't lose anything else from it, luckily for Team Ronin. But not really what you wanted after a really good early game so far.
Not what you wanted at all, but we do know that the steel shield slam is out of the question right now. And as Flame's going to come out, he's going to get that level 6. And now he's going to have that ultimate advantage. Even though he did just die over on the blue side, he's going to be a little bit behind. But with that ultimate coming back up, still blinks down on that duo side, might be able to see that possible rotation back again to maybe try and get that kill to capitalize over on that Fangtooth, or being able to get a little bit of a pressure applied since Llama's just doing such a great job over here with Mr. GooRoo on this Greystone. But Stoneforce Sword is still available. So what that's going to look like for Llama here as he pushes his wave in towards this tower.
I don't think Llama has kill threat really, especially in the 1v1. GooRoo is going to be tanky enough. But he can do things like that. So he can push the wave in and allow Flamepojken to start invading. And now that Muriel has got that 6, has got that reversal of fortune, I think it'd be quite a good idea for Ronin to look towards this mini prime instead, as they're going to go for another gank, but misses the boulder, so nothing's going to come of it.
Yeah, just going to be able to zone him away. We do see Nerf on Team Animosity going to go for the first Fangtooth here. Skype Hamster is around, but with the 3v1, he's going to be in a bad position. Going to have to back out here as we do see the rest of Team Ronin rotating in. But with the early start on this objective, it looks like Team Animosity is going to have the advantage, and they're going to be able to pick up that first Fangtooth on their side. So 1 for 1 as they look to trade the mini prime for Team Ronin. And this game right now is pretty even, if all things concluded.
Yeah, it'll be interesting who they give it to. It does look like they're going to give it over to Flamepojken, which is... I think I would have preferred it on Llama, honestly. I think he's been playing pretty well so far in this lane. It would have been good to give him a bit more advantage. But Flamepojken can interact with more lanes, so he can look towards this dual lane or to the mid lane as well. Maybe look for some early towers as the... We have hit 10 minutes. The tower defense has been removed after the 8-minute mark. So now they can easily look for these early sort of towers. But again, you've got 2 real scaling lanes. You've got that Muriel who needs a few items to get those seals online. And then Gadget, obviously, is anyone who's played with one, does want that level 16, that max round ultimate as well, a few items. So he is going to look for this dual lane.
As we do see Les, though, don't get hit, missed with the rock with Flame as they do put the pressure onto the Drongo here. Shrapnel Blast comes out, but is that enough as Flame is diving on in and they pick up a kill over on the side of Team Ronin, and that's without the blink, able to get the resources out. Great little pickup there, and with this Orb Prime buff, might be possibly able to get this T1 down, but Nerf, lurking on his blue side, may be able to come answer and help defend.
Nerf is over here, but they don't really have any wave clear. Even with a Steel and Decker, they can't really clear these minions very easily until Cynic gets back, especially with the mini prime buff. They are going to be able to clear this eventually, but the next wave is immediately here, and the Steel Wall's already been used early, so they can't use it to stop the tower damage going through. So this should be an easy pickup, especially with the Ice Corn, if they go in though.
Shield Slide comes in, forced the blink on Lugga, and there comes the ult coming out. Big mode activated, but the wave is slowly dying out. Flame is not giving up yet, and there it is. He has to peel on out because the damage is not there. As Lugga is out of mana, out of a blink, and they're going to be able to take this reset here. Great defense coming out of a Team Animosity.
Yeah, really good for Animosity. They managed to kind of stop the worst case scenario. They do lose 1 life, but keeping the tower online is really important for these waves. Just means that they can't be pushed in too far and then have the dual lane be rotated into this mid lane. so it is going to extend these lanings for a bit longer on. I don't think they can really defend it for too much longer. It is on a 1 HP, so anytime that Ronin do want to take it, they can probably take it quite easily. But at least for now, Kalipito is going to be quite safe in this mid lane as well.
Definitely think they're going to be able to dive that tower. If Rampage rotates one more time when the ultimate is back up, able to take that extra tower shot or two if needed once he's in big behemoth mode. Takes a little peek over towards Kalipito with the Gideon. No neutral objectives up right now. Looking at the standard farm, maybe looking for a pick. Rampage lurking still on that ward, looking for anything. But Kalipito is just playing safe here. And that's what you kind of want out of your mid laner, wasting the time of the jungler. Still, we have seen him active, but what more else can he do? Does he need to kind of go a little bit more aggressive, invading inside the blue side jungle when these objectives are down, or what is he looking for?
I think he's doing a fine job right now. He's influenced every single lane on the map so far. Has got 2 kills with the help of his ganks. So I don't think you can really ask for much more from Flamepojken, especially as he gets into this later game. He's just going to get more and more tanky. But he's still going to have the damage to be not a kill threat, but have a damage threat against these backliners. And we can see the pressure that Rampage has, because Kalipito went a 2-0 band really early on, just making sure that they could not be stopped because of the rocks, as well as having a bit more survivability when he is in that ultimate. But that again, that trades for damage. He hasn't actually got a full damage item yet. So come the second Fangtooth, when is probably going to be up within 1 or 2 minutes, he's not going to be that impactful.
But the rock does miss. Rampage coming out for the gank. Gonna have to use the dash away, but the subjugate does land. Stoneforge still is available. Forces the blink out on Mr. GooRoo, and he's trying to get out of there. He's running away, but the big behemoth mode comes on out. Rock lands. Stoneforge still is there. My, you missed the colossal blow, but the subjugate lands. Might be able to dive this tower. It's not enough. Unfortunate for the colossal blow there. A lot of resources out of Mr. GooRoo, and pressure going to be coming out of that off lane as he has forced to back.
I think you can get tower quite easily there, but you are going to trade it out for that Fangtooth because they're not going to be in time for that to be set up. Nerf as well looking for the dual lane. So although you didn't get a kill in GooRoo, I mean, a second Fangtooth for tier 1 tower in solo, that's not guaranteed obviously because it hasn't spawned yet, but they really need to make sure they are in a position to contest it.
Flamepojken, the behemoth is down, so it's going to be a little bit less likely to just kind of jump in and make any ridiculous moves. As the wave pressure is a little bit even. A second Fangtooth is finally up. Blue side on Nerf though is going to have to clear this. Going to try and stay over on this side of the map as we see Rampage looking towards these river buffs, looking towards the mid lane. Gadget, the entire team of Ronin just actually took their reset, as they might possibly be looking to be taking one of these neutral objectives as they're coming on up. But Greystone inside the off lane there, getting that wave pressure on, going to have to force Sevarog to kind of sit there for a little bit longer. Is he going to be able to have that early advantage? Is he going to rotate to come over towards the second Fangtooth and kind of give themselves a little bit more pressure in this game?
He is running, but Flamepojken is running onto Kalipito. He has the beam back online and nearly takes him out, but GooRoo has finally arrived.
And he goes in with the shield blast, forces Flame to get out of there. And Mr. GooRoo actually rotating to the mid lane after getting that pressure. But Flame using his ult not to wait for the neutral objective of the Fangtooth, but actually going towards Kalipito, forcing him to get out of there. He's going to take a reset, and the team's going to be ready and back again. We see in the dual lane, though, they're going to have a little bit more pressure on top of that side. So they're going to have at least one side of the map pressured out. And someone's going to answer to that wave, as we do see Kalipito answering to that. Llama rotating in. Wards all over the place on the Fangtooth side. Now 5v5 members looking to get this objective. No one wants to make a mistake here. As Llama goes towards Nerf, Kalipito by himself, and the Fangtooth does go over to Team Ronin. It's 1-for-1, but the subjugate lands. The shield slam in the back, and the Rift Walkers to come in, and health bars are dropping. Flame goes down as fire has been slithered out, as Llama is still fighting towards this Decker, but it's going to be able to have that double jump, and CynicUK gets caught. Can the hat take it away? Not enough damage, but the Tesla Dome comes down. It's being able to clean that up, and it's a 2-for-1 trade with the Fangtooth going over towards Team Ronin.
That was really messy from both sides there. The Fangtooth was taken early. Llama was doing a really good of zoning away Nerf, just making sure he could not get into that pit. But then the fight afterwards was just really weird. A nice colossal blow onto 2, but that was on both onto tanks. And I don't want to do this, but
Yeah.
that was probably one of the worst black holes I have seen in the FangBooth. I'm going to acknowledge it, and we're going to move on. But at the end of the day, Ronin do kill 2 of Animosity and are able to pick up the mini prime as well, just to the fact that Nerf was not able to stay around.
Yeah, big missed opportunity in that black hole. Hopefully be able to clean those up going towards the rest of this game as Team Ronin look to kind of push their lead a little bit more towards their side. We do see Skype Hamster, though, just kind of getting his damage off when needed, keeping himself safe. Llama doing great work. With that colossal blow, we did point out that was against the tanks, but it was still able to kind of just separate everybody from being able to peel for the damage dealers, like peel for Cynic. He was going down to the 1v1, and they were just doing a great job there, zoning everybody out.
Yeah,
Now,
and also, I just want to point out the mid lane items. Kalipito, as you can see, has that 2 silver. It's building towards that Megacosm, but he really only has 1.5 items. But we look at Skype Hamster, they have the Megacosm and Tainted Scepter online. They're also building towards a 2 silver themselves, which is actually really strong on granted. It just gives you more survivability. With your passive seal, just makes you kind of unkillable for a while. So that mid lane is becoming a real big issue for Animosity, and it's only going to get worse.
you see Flame over inside this off lane, but that is a great point to point out. Not a lot of damage right now on the Gideon, especially just having an item and a half, and True Silver not giving you that much to play with. As we see GooRoo just kind of just giving up on that tier 2 tower, as there is the Ore Prime buff on these minions, and with a Flame over there on the Behemoth, no more help to be in the way. Looking for this mid lane. Do see Nerf pressuring that red side of Team Ronin. Maybe possibly able to get a gank off. With a T1 down, they have to be careful as he does initiate. T1 is actually still up and he goes down with a swoop wall. Going to be able to throw in a silence. Going trying to ult away and does be able to get it off. And that's going to be null and voided as they look to get that pressure on that left lane. But Flame has other questions as he goes on in and to go huge colossal blow. And they're just going to pick on this Gideon without anywhere to go. And this is another T2 being pressured out with the Ore Prime buff on Llama. And right now, Team Ronin are running away.
Yeah, the macro is just being run by Team Ronin so hard right now. They got that tier 2 in the solo, tier 2 in that mid lane and traded 1v1. Penguin actually going down to the rad rounds from Cynic there. So even though he did get the ultimate off, you don't stop the rad round damage from coming out. And now Lezduit is on his own as well against 4 people. Goodbye, Decker.
Goodbye, and that is not where you want to be. They were able to get that T1, but like we talked about before, this is another tier 2 getting pressured. That macro is just coming out into play here. They still have the Ore Prime buff as Nerf is trying to get the pressure on top of Lugga, but gets wrapped up in all the void in the microwave and gets obliterated, even though he's a big tanky boy. Cynic and Kalipito are here to try and defend. Ore Prime gone. Black hole coming out top. Skype Hamster needs to be careful as they do get the pressure out. The wave is cleared. Subjugate does land to keep them backed away. Team Ronin unable to get the tier 2, but able to pick up Nerf. And this is looking good for them as they were able to retreat.
I mean, they get the defense off, but recently, Animosity just go one-on-one. They steal ult, goes in, instantly dies. And then a few seconds later, the black hole comes out, which, I mean, kills the minions, doesn't really do anything else. And now, as you look at the map, Fangtooth is going to come up again. And either team has got that second Fangtooth already, so the third Fangtooth buff stats are not going to be on the table, but the out of combat movement speed is going to be rather nice for either either side. And also, the main prime is up, but again, I don't think our team is really going to look for it. Ronin could, maybe in a few more minutes, because they have got those tanky members, but instead they are going to look for that Fangtooth.
I think that's a smart play there coming out of Team Ronin. Want to get that extra combat movement speed, like you were talking about, is just so good late on into the game, especially when you're trying to roam throughout the map, trying to get to your team faster.
Let's do it.
Excuse me, why would you jump in there? Decker caught out into position, trying to get in there, just falls down as there's the big team fight going on. Fight is kind of split, but goes off and misses the shield slam, and that's going to subjugate, and that's going to land, and that's 2 members down for the side of Team Animosity as the Stoneforge Soul comes on out, but Llama is shooting his way along with the Muriel coming in, might possibly be able to get something out. If he blinks for it, forces the blink on GooRoo. And man, right now, Team Ronin is chasing and running it down. Shrapnel Cannon is not there. He's gonna have to be able to take this death, and that's 3 members for 0. And Fangtooth goes towards the side of Team Ronin.
And that's going to be all prime. I mean, Flamepojken is just we say he's going to be 4 HP. He can run back quite easily, jump over the back end. And I mean, Animosity, they weren't there in time to contest this third thank you. And then they decided to go in afterwards once Lezduit had died. So it's just weird shot calling from Animosity. And now you are going to allow this all prime to be taken at 23 minutes on this scaling comp, which is terrifying. There's no towers left really outside tier 2 enduro for them to take, so they are going to be seizing on those inhibs. And Animosity has got some decent wave clears. Drongo and Gideon have both got good wave clear in their kit, so it's not going to be the end of the world, but it is going to be rather hard. Skype has 6 kills. Oh god, that is terrifying. Okay.
And he's working his way into that Caustica. And we saw that a little bit of that True Silver coming out there, not just being able to get CC'd easily by that steal as they were taking that fight. But a huge point out here, this huge War Prime with a later scaling team is not good for you, as Team Animosity is going to be looking to try and defend. Kalipito maybe finally getting a little bit more power into his kit here, might be able to do a little bit more damage if these black holes land or these meteorites. But with the potential of the global ult from the Muriel, we do see that 1-3-1 split coming out. What can they really do to really defend here? Do they need to group up? Do they need to separate? It's going to be a lot.
They need to make a choice being quite fast either way. I think they really should look for one of these side lanes if they can. But what side lane do you go for? Because Llama is basically raid boss at this time. He's going to take down that tier 2 already. You're going to have a 4-man grouping in the mid lane. So see if they can kill Llama before the mid lane is sieged. But that's not going to happen. Minion's already here.
And so is the rest, and that rocket lands, and goodbye. Kalipito and the Gideon's gone, but they try and initiate here. Mr. GooRoo's going to eat that Tesla Dome. It's going to be forced out. Going to take a lot of damage, and he gets getting CC'd to death right now. Soul's able to go up, but in the back line, Nerf is going to be able to clean up Llama as he dies on in. They're going to be able to have the 2-for-1 here, and it's looking a little bit good on the defense coming outside of Team Animosity. But with another wave coming in, that Ore Prime buff still there, ready to let loose. They're going to push on in. This mid-inhib is going to be down as they move themselves towards the right. Team Ronin just here capitalizing on the fortunate events that they have been able to pick up this Ore Prime with Team Animosity defending for their lives. And then with this kind of lawnmower technique, you see them just clearing all these inhibitors, looking to try and just make sure they have the bigger macro decision and have this pressure going towards them.
Yeah, and this is how good the 1v1 push is, because once the first inhibitor is taken, they can easily go onto the other sides. Everyone has respawned, so it is a 4v4 at the moment. Mr. GooRoo is going to be up in 1 second, same with Llama. So it looks like they are going to back off in the end. Well, saying that, Ronin is still 4 HP. They still have the Orb Prime buff. Another rock to one of the carries can easily take this down.
Nerf taking a lot of damage, being the kind of the front line for them. They don't have another wave. They don't have the clear potential because this is the only wave they have to focus on for now. As we do see Llama kind of reinsert himself back in. The rock does not land, but the pressure, the starvation, this is the siege that's going on. They're going to stay here and try and get pushed out. They do have the siege minion waves now kind of just coming in handy. And with Llama here, the shield slam goes off in the back line, but Nerf, you don't have the damage there. And that's going to be Nerf down, and that is not what you want. Llama goes in for the back line. They clean up 2 more members. Rock hits on Kalipito, looking for that blink to get out, as now Team Ronin is running down to the core. But is there much that they can do? And they pick up a 4th. Kalipito trying to defend with the black hole, but I don't think you have enough to stop this machine. And they're going to be able to end this game. And Team Ronin takes it as a 16-4. What a game.